Hey guys, this is SJ Football 16, and today I will be revealing my predictions for Week 10 of the Barclays Premier League season 2015 to 16. I'm going to start with the game between Aston Villa and Swansea City. I think the score in this is going to be 2-2 because both teams are playing similar in terms of ability at the moment, and both teams have a similar squad ability on paper. I think the score is going to be 2-2, and I think the scorers are going to be Idrissa Gueye for Aston Villa and Jack Grealish. And for Swansea City, it's going to be Andre Ayew and Gylfi Sigurdsson. Now I'm going to head over to the game between Leicester City and Crystal Palace. I think the score in this is going to be 1-1, and the scorers are going to be Matthew James and Scott Dann. This is because both teams are fighting for a place in European football next season, and I think that both teams have played just as well as each other so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a draw in this one. And I'm going to head over to the game between Norwich City and West Bromwich Albion. Both these teams haven't played well at all this season. Norwich City, they played awful against Newcastle, a team quite low down in the table. West Brom, they've picked up their form a bit, but haven't played spectacularly well in their other games. Whereas Norwich City have. So I think the score in this is going to be 1-1, and the scorers are going to be Stephen Whittaker for Norwich City and Gamboa for West Brom. This is because I think the teams, they're just as good as each other. There's no team out of these that are better than each other. So I think it's going to be 1-1. Now I'm going to head over to the game between Stoke City and Watford. I think the score in this is going to be 4-2 to Stoke City. And I think the score is going to be Phil Bardsley, Glenn Johnson, Peter Odemwingie and Glenn Whelan for Stoke City. And I think it's going to be Troy Deeney and Victor Ababo for Watford. This is because I think Stoke, they've picked up their form loads, having played poorly in their first few games. And Watford, although they've had a good start to the season, they haven't played really well, and Stoke are going to be a big threat this season, and I don't think they'll be able to exploit their options against Stoke City. Now I'm going to head over to the game between West Ham United and Chelsea. I think the score in this is going to be 0-0. This is because although West Ham have played absolutely brilliantly away, I don't think they can do the same at home because they've showed at home that they haven't played that well. And Chelsea have not played well at all this season, even though they have a brilliant squad as a whole, and Mourinho's an excellent manager. I don't think that they'll be able to beat West Ham, and I don't think West Ham will be able to beat Chelsea, as I've mentioned earlier. Now I'm going to head over to the late kickoff between Arsenal and Everton. I think the score in this is going to be 2-0 to Arsenal. I have no doubt they'll win. Arsenal have a better squad than Everton on the whole. Arsenal are playing better than Everton this season, and their players, they're better than Everton, every single one. And I think the scorers are going to be Hector Bellerin and Theo Walcott. Now I'm going to head over to the Sunday kickoff between Sunderland and Newcastle, the Tyneside derby. I think this is because I think it's going to be 2-1, and I think this 2-1 to Newcastle, and I think this because both teams are quite similar in terms of ability, but I think Newcastle will have the upper hand at the moment because you saw how they did against Norwich City, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got another win against Sunderland, despite appointing Sam Allardyce as their manager. I don't think it's really going to be enough for Sunderland to beat Newcastle. I think the scorers are going to be Adam Johnson for Sunderland, and Mbemba will score 2 for Newcastle. Now I'm going to head over to the game between Bournemouth and Tottenham. This is the first big home game that Bournemouth really have this season. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Tottenham because although Bournemouth have played well, I say well, they've played well against the smaller teams, but not so well against the bigger teams, as we saw against Manchester City and Tottenham. They're playing average. They're not playing as well as you would expect, but I think they'll pick up their form and beat Bournemouth on Sunday. And I think the scorers are going to be Glenn Murray for Bournemouth, and Harry Kane will finally pick up his form and score 2 for Tottenham, as he should be doing. And I'm going to head over to the Manchester derby and a top table derby between Manchester United and Manchester City. I think the score in this is going to be 2-1 to Manchester City. Just because I think we can clearly see Man City at top of the league. They're playing better than anyone else in the Premier League, arguably. The only team that's up there with them is probably Arsenal at the moment. And United, they showed against Arsenal that they're not really that good opponents against the big teams. And I think Man City can probably do well against every single one of the big teams, including the likes of Manchester United. So I think it's going to be 2-1, and the scorers are going to be Wayne Rooney for Manchester United, and Kevin De Bruyne and Fernandinho for Manchester City. Now, finally, I'm going to head over to the game between Liverpool and Southampton. I think the score is going to be 0-0 in this one. Although Jurgen Klopp has recently joined Liverpool, I don't think it's really going to be enough at this stage. Southampton, they've played really well. They've played well against some of the big teams. Although they had an off period against Leicester, I think they could do well against most of the teams in the Premier League, apart from maybe the big 4 teams in that division. But Liverpool, they haven't played really well this season, not the way they have been wanting to play this season. So this is why I think it's going to remain stalemate in this game. That's all from me for today. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to comment on any changes you think should be made. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new to this channel. See you guys next time.